Hi everybody and welcome to the continuation of last week's episode where we went over the fundamentals of AWP aiming and crosshair placement. If you've missed that, please go check it out first, as this lesson will build on that one. And for the guys and girls who have been practicing last week's routine, this new routine will now replace your old one and will improve your AWP skills dramatically. So today we will be going over AWPing in high stress and high speed situations. The fundamentals we will be going over is no scoping, quick scoping, fast aiming, and of course the a la creme, the flick shot. We will explain how all four of these elements tie together to give you the depth that a lot of people lack when AWPing, and this depth is what you will need to really become good with the AWP. Also, we will give you some tips and routines on how you want to train this. For your convenience, the timeline will be time-stamped if you ever need to revisit any of the training sections. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, when AWPing, it is important to remember that there is a difference between aiming very quickly onto your target and an actual flick shot. Both skills are important, but there is a difference between the two. The fast aim is a deliberate movement onto the enemy, while the flick shot is a lot more like swinging a whip onto the target. So, because fast aiming is a lot more deliberate, it involves your eyes as well as your muscle memory to move the crosshair onto the target, while the flick shot is almost a subconscious movement of the forearm and wrist, where you feel more where the shot is going to land, making it a much quicker shot but with a lot more room for error. The reason we are going to train both the fast aim as well as the quick shot is because both of these use a lot of the same underlying skills, like no scoping and fast movement of the crosshair. The reason no scoping is important is because you don't have a crosshair when you play with the AWP. And let's say, for instance, you see this guy in the left corner. It doesn't help if you scope in all the way over here and then you have to travel all the way over to his position. Your brain needs to learn to move very close onto the target without a crosshair, so that when you scope in you only have a small distance to aim or flick onto the target. Also, another thing to remember about fast aiming versus flick shots is that sometimes, let's say for instance, you are over here when you scope in, a fast aim is going to be a lot safer as the flick is easier to miss, especially over a very short distance. Also, the fast aim improves your general aim. Then, after we have trained this, we are going to start the flick training. Okay, training aim CSGO 2 map. Link will be in the description below. Unfortunately, after the latest update to CSGO, the weapons panel of this map doesn't seem to be working properly. But hopefully this will get fixed soon. Until then, I'll show you the workaround. For now, you need to restart the map when you want to select weapons. So just go over to this panel, press E at a pistol to work the interface with, and also on one of the auto snipers for our no scope and fast aim training. So for our no scope training, I like to train with the noob cannon or auto sniper, whatever you may choose to call it, as it has a much greater rate of fire and also you don't waste time with the bolt action animation of the AWP. But it also has no crosshair, so it's perfect for our training purposes. If we had to train this with the AWP, we would waste a lot of times between each shot waiting for the reload. And what we are actually trying to achieve is to train our brains to quickly acquire targets without a crosshair. So now for the training setup, I like to put my dot to blue, make the radius 16, as this is quite large and we are not training for pinpoint accuracy, but rather towards getting the crosshair in the general vicinity of the target. Put the amount to 50 and just leave the rest of the settings. Now when you shoot the start button, the dots will appear at a nice pace and you simply try to hit them without a scope. In fact, if you are struggling a bit, even changing the radius up to 24 is still acceptable, especially if you are only starting out. But try to hit at least 40 out of the 50 targets. And once you are done with this exercise, we are going to train our fast aiming. And we are still going to use the auto sniper, so no need to restart the map. We will be, of course, using the auto sniper to practice because we can shoot really fast at our scope sensitivity without having to wait for the bolt action animation of the AWP. For the next exercise, choose the intensive fast aiming. Bring the radius down a bit to, I'd say, around 16 if you're starting out or 12 if you're a bit more comfortable. Then bring the tar limit down to 5 or 3 depending on your skill. How this works is the dots won't disappear until you shoot them. They simply keep spawning, but if they get over the tar limit, you lose. So now you just go up to the top level, level 4, take out the auto sniper and hit start. Now you simply go and try to get the score up to at least 100 without the tar limit being reached. And as you can see, this is nice training in all directions and it forces you to aim at quite a pace. So this is good for your aim speed while keeping it accurate. So for this exercise, chase that 100 points without the tar limit being reached. Now for the quick scope and flick training, I'm just going to restart the map as you actually want an AWP for this exercise. So this map used to work that you could just shoot a new weapon and get it, but for now it's not working 100%. So make sure you aim at the AWP when you press that E button. I see the skins are not loading anymore. Anyway, just get a pistol to work the interface with. Come over to the control panel, keep it to classic. Let's say for silver we want to start around the radius at 16. Choose a nice color, change the amount to 50. And now we want the respawn delay to be 2 seconds because of the time that the bolt action animation of the AWP is going to take. Now go back up to the top level. How this exercise is going to work is it's going to combine your no-scope training with doing flicks over small distances. You see there are two types of flicks. One is over small distances where you only have to move a small area onto a target, and the other one is where you actually have to whip it quite a distance onto a target. We are starting with the small flicks first, as this is not as flashy but quite important, as you are going to be using this a lot, where for instance you keep an angle and someone jumps out, you want to be able to quickly flick up or out and still hit them. Also, the higher your skill gets with no scoping, the closer you will naturally tend to be to a target when you scope in. So that means smaller flicks. How this training will work is to simply press start. And now you want to use your no scope skills to get close to a target before zooming in. And then do a quick flick, not aim, a flick onto the target. For this exercise to be effective, you want to swap weapons between each shot, as this will have you zoomed out quickly between each shot, forcing you to acquire aim without a crosshair, scope in and make a quick flick movement onto the target. If you just keep the AWP out, it will zoom back in much more quickly, and as you can see, that turns this exercise into a very slow, very lazy and very easy aim exercise, and that is not what we want. So simply train these 50 shots and try to get at least a 40 out of 50 hit ratio. Now for the more general, longer flicks, let's head back over to aimbots. Now finally for the actual training of the normal, medium to longer range flicks. You know, these types of distances. So for training, let's keep open only 2 areas of the arena. I usually take out the bullet holes, as this disables the blood spatters as well. And maybe if you are starting out as a silver, take down the furthest outer wall until you are a bit more comfortable with the flicks. For the actual training, we are going to do 100 kills in the following fashion. So what you do is you find a target, maybe this guy over here, aim at him, but then you flick onto another enemy close to him. Now you find another enemy with someone close by, and because you know there is an enemy over here, you simply flick to the left onto him. And now you continue to do this for 100 kills, alternating between flicking to the left and to the right. If you don't find enemies too close to each other, simply aim a bit off and then flick one onto the left and one onto the right. And then you repeat to the left and to the right. And the reason we alternate is because if you don't focus on flicking one to the left and one to the right, you will automatically default into the angle which is easiest for you. So without thinking, when you are practicing your flicks, you would be automatically aiming to the right of a bot, and then you will practice your flicks, but you will only get good at flicking to your default side and not the other side. Also, for the days when you don't have time for training but you know you are going to be using the AWP, this is a quick warm-up of 100 bots which will just wake up your muscle memory. And that's it for the flick training, 100 bots alternating to the left and the right between each kills. And you will find that this exercise really helps you to AWP in those high tension situations. After this, let's pull all these elements together in a combined exercise. Now for the fun combined training where we incorporate all of our AWP skills. We have two choices and you can use whichever one you like. Option 1 is our old trusty fast aim map. Links will be in the description below. So let's reduce the bots down to 1. And now get a trusty pistol and AWP setup that you like, whether that's Deagle, USB, Tech 9, whichever. Add 3 bots back in so that there are 4 bots in total. Shoot this symbol so that you can exit the cubicle. Now you find a corner once again and defend it. And as you will now find, because you have practiced your fast aim and flick shots, you'll find yourselves being a lot quicker and a lot more mobile. And you can on this map also combine keeping angles and doing your flicks. And you will just overall see and feel a big difference from last week. So just go around and get 50 or 100 kills. And just have fun with this exercise. And now that you are training in this fashion as well, where you practice no scoping and flicks and fast aiming, all those things, it is going to give you more depth as an AWPer, and you will also be a lot more comfortable AWPing in high pressure situations. And now I'm going to show you the same exercise but in an alternative map. Of course, all you Silverschool guys and girls will remember our wipe-rack maps. You know they are very nice maps to train different things in, like the peaks and pre-fires and smokes, as discussed in Silverschool. But believe it or not, we can also train our AWP skills by going over here to the defense mode. You can choose either AK or knives. With the AKs, the bots tend to do this 80-80 sidestepping thing quite a bit, and with knives, the bots tend to run around a bit more, whether towards you or away from you. Then up top, you can choose where you play, middle, A, B, whichever you want. And then I usually put the bots to infinite, as the 30 or 60 bots can go by very quickly if you are having fun. And now jump on the pedestal. Now what you will see is bots running at you on sight. So yeah, I forgot, as soon as they reach you they disappear, so you don't really have to swap to the pistol. You can just keep the AWP out the whole time. And what I like about training on sight is that you learn all the angles, looking into all the other angles, making you a lot more comfortable with moving while AWPing and staying in cover. So this is some nice training, almost like deathmatch, without all the downtime you will have by being dead. So this is an alternative that you can use to do the combination training with your AWP, or maybe do both variations for extra credit. So as in the previous map, go ahead and get, maybe up to 100 kills at least. So I'd really like to hear from you in the comment section below on how much value you got out of this routine. Also remember to hit that subscribe button, as that gives us the steam to keep putting out these videos. Also hit the bell notification so that you don't fall behind because you are missing out on important principles or faster routines to up your skill level. Thanks for watching, and until next time, class dismissed.